Okay, hello everybody. Let's stop this music. So welcome to today's session, which is for National Apprenticeship Week. So originally, one of our apprentices reached out to us and said that they were, what were we doing for National Apprenticeship Week? And we weren't really going to be doing that much. We're not really one for big on kind of events and celebrations, but given that we've been involved in apprenticeship for so long and given that it's such a good cause and there seems to be lots more momentum behind National Apprenticeship Week and has been in recent years, I thought I would go live and I'd talk about 4 common myths for apprenticeships, because there is still a lot of misconceptions around apprenticeships. And having been around them since 2007 when they were the old frameworks, there are a number of things that commonly I come across that myths, misconceptions, and even with people that I speak to on a regular basis, they still don't fully understand apprenticeship. So it was my idea to kind of come on here and talk a little bit around what feedback I've had, because I lead a lot on the business development, on the sales side from our business. I get from that, and how I can debunk or, get rid of any myths that are incorrect with regards to apprenticeship. So I have coffee in hand, which is very, very hot, and I'm going to jump into the usual presentation style and share my screen. So feel free here. You can leave comments. I can get them from some destinations. We're streaming on X or Twitter. I think people are still calling it Twitter. We're streaming on LinkedIn, and we will be on YouTube as well, on CVP, on those 2 platforms, and on my personal profile we are on LinkedIn. So leave any comments if you've got any questions as we go along, and I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. So debunking apprenticeship, what's it all about? What are apprenticeships all about is kind of the key thing. And so it would make sense to start off to say, what is an apprenticeship? The problem that we've had with apprenticeships is that traditionally apprenticeships were generally assigned to trades or professionals. They would be, and some are still 3 years, but they were maybe 3 years, 4 years. You do your tenure, and you get a skill at the end. Now, modern apprenticeships, whilst they have been born from traditional apprenticeships that our parents might have done, are very different. And so you get this kind of misconception or representation from people. Oh, it's not like it was in my day. We'd do an apprenticeship. We'd make cups of tea for the first year. And whilst there is an element of that, they are right. Apprenticeships aren't what they were in your day. But then again, the workforce isn't what it is and was in your day. Things have changed. Things have moved on. And the concept of getting the cups of tea for the first year, whilst there are some kind of there is some irony to that, in the sense that you will be doing entry level duties. The world and the workforce has changed, and apprenticeships naturally have changed to reflect that. So an apprenticeship is also referred to as standards, and all that means is an apprenticeship has a standard. So it's basically saying, what is the qualifications? And we refer to them as standards because they used to be called frameworks. And the reason that they're called standards, the reason they're called frameworks, is because they've got different components in. They're not called frameworks now; they're called standards. But an apprenticeship is a qualification, a subject-specific qualification, and so it may relate to engineering, it may relate to coaching, it may relate to management, it may relate to IT. There's a technical component in it that's specific to the subject area that you want to learn. So that's the first thing. Now, in addition to that, an apprenticeship isn't just a qualification. So let's say you want to be a qualified plumber. You can do an apprenticeship, and there'll be other elements which I'll talk about, but you can also go and just do a plumbing qualification. each one will give you a different thing, but an apprenticeship will also teach you how to improve your maths and English if it's not at that required level, or stretch and challenge your maths and English further. Have wraparound wider career support and aspirations. Look at how you're developing yourself personally. So it's much, much more. It's much, much more than just learn how to do this trade. It's about a career, a vocation. So wrapped around the subject specialism is also the maths, English, careers, personal development. What are your behaviors like? How's your attitude? All these sorts of things. And your provider is expected to make sure that you are developing all those different skills. So the first one is the biggest one that we come across. And I did a poll this week, and I wonder if I can bring that poll up. What is the average age of an apprenticeship, or what apprenticeships? What age of people are on apprenticeship? So our apprenticeships, the average age of ours is 36. Now, that's not to say that younger people traditionally aren't the people doing apprenticeships. There is a shift into more adult people later in their learning life doing apprenticeships, but there's all sorts of people of all sorts of ages. So when we talk about apprenticeships, we're not talking about people that are starting their career. Apprenticeships run from level 2, which you can sort of, and I don't always like doing this, do a comparison to GCSE, all the way up to level 7 masters. So your level 7 masters is, strategic leadership qualifications, real stretch and challenge qualifications at the highest level, and often partnered with universities to give you that master's recognition. So if you're thinking about apprenticeship and you put off because you think it's for young people, don't. It's not for young people at all. That's not to say it doesn't support young people in their career aspirations. It just means that it's not specifically designed for young people. The next one is probably the biggest obstacle that we often face as a provider, and it is that you have to take a day off a week. So there is something called off-the-job hours, and off-the-job hours are application of time to develop new knowledge, skills, and behavior throughout that apprenticeship. And so what often happens is it used to be 20%, it's now 6 hours a week. The reality is you need to train for 6 hours a week, but it doesn't mean that you have to be in a classroom for 6 hours a week. This is a myth. So we often get, I can't afford to have that person released. I'll give you an example what might happen. So you might attend a workshop, and that workshop might be 2.5 hours. And then you do that 2.5 hour workshop and you do some pre-reading for half an hour. So that might be 3 hours in week, which means you've got 3 hours left for your off-the-job training. Well, you will have learned something during that workshop, and you need to go away the following week and practice those skills, put them into practice, craft them, and get better at them. So you may do that for 2 hours, and then you might write up a reflective journal. You might write up an assignment for another hour, and that could be then 6 hours that you've taken to practice your off-the-job skills. So there's a wide range of things you can do in terms of how you embed them within your day-to-day program. It's just the development of new knowledge and skills, but you certainly don't have to be a day away from work a week. And, it depends on the provider and the program and the way that they've got it set up. A lot of providers are very different. Some have day release, some have block release, some have 2-week residential. So speak to your provider about what they are doing and how they've set their program up. Myth number 3 ties into that. There's a lot of work to do, written assignments, and that puts me off. The apprenticeship is a on and off the job training program. And so the whole concept of it is that you're not having to spend hours and hours writing countless assignments. The endpoint assessment is often testing the vocational element and skills that you've developed. And so you don't have to spend a lot of time writing up assignments. You may have assignments, you may wish to professionally record them, you may have requirements from the qualifications or subject sector body within your qualification that require you to do certain things. But the whole concept of doing 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 word dissertation reports, even though they are at degree level, it is not something that you will often have to do on an apprenticeship. Because as I've just said with the off-the-job hours, the concept should be learn some new skill, Go away, practice it, iterate it, get better, sign off on competency, get ready for your end assessment. And that tends to be the cycle that you follow in terms of developing your apprenticeship or apprenticeship skills, knowledge, and behaviors. And then the last one is that, and this was a big shift for me, that apprenticeships are like a subclass or substandard of qualifications. Now, this has shifted considerably in recent years, I'm pleased to say. I don't think it's also fair to draw comparison like for like. I think apprenticeships have their own merits, but there's certainly a recognition across industry, education, and sectors that apprenticeships absolutely hold their own, and in some cases have extended rigor that you would not find within a college or university course. And so, if you're thinking, I don't want to do an apprenticeship, isn't that for the people that didn't go to university and ended up becoming a plumber or a tradesman? Well, no, it's not. There's all sorts of things you can do, and they hold up academically and educationally to all the rigor that you would expect of other qualifications. And I did a post this week on when I first started in business, not in business, in the training world, and they drew comparisons to the frameworks being the equivalent of GCSEs at level 2 and the equivalent of A levels at level 3. And I don't think that does any favors to anyone. Think about um, think about what is it that you want to learn, and how is that going to support the development of your skills and aspirations. So, for example, I want to become good at coding. I want to become good at IT. Forget around the qualifications. Think about the skills that you need, because your value in the workplace will be directly attributable to the skills and demand for those skills that you that are in the market, in the open market. And so, if you want a good career, you want to increase your earning potential. To some people, the accreditation is important, but for most people, it's about developing the skills that you need that are going to progress and develop your career in the way that you want. And that is the beauty about apprenticeships. Are they perfect? Absolutely not. Are they for everyone? Absolutely not. Are they an incredible way to fund, without big tuition fees, with the support of your employer, and gain incredible skills and insights from some amazing training providers out there? Yes, absolutely. And so, how can you get involved? We deliver specifically coaching qualifications, but you may have a desire to do an apprenticeship in a whole wide range of subjects. So, on the Find an Apprenticeship service, you can have a look and you can find providers that deliver apprenticeships in your desired skill, art, path, vocation. The Institute of Apprenticeships a good starting point. So you can use the search function there to find out if there's an apprenticeship specific related to the field that you want to develop. But most importantly, you need to be in that role. That's the difference with an apprenticeship. You need to be in that role and doing that thing. So you can go and complete a course, you can go and do a qualification, often through written work and assignments. But an apprenticeship, you have to be in the role to be developing the skills. And that is the biggest advantage of apprenticeships, your real practical world application of skills that you're developing. And so, Institute of Apprenticeships, Find an Apprenticeship service, which is the government service. For us, if you're interested in coaching, particularly in developing your leadership skills as a coach, March, April, June, September, October this year, we have intakes of 15. Please reach out, get in touch with me directly if you want, or message anyone, apprenticeships at cbpgroup.co.uk. National Apprenticeship Week. I've seen so much stuff this week on National Apprenticeship Week. It's been amazing. Still a couple of days left, but keep up posting, everyone. Keep up your success stories. Tomorrow is, I think, like the Celebration Apprenticeship Friday. So I look forward to seeing all the good case studies and stuff tomorrow. We've got one for you that we'll put on social medias. Don't forget YouTube, X, LinkedIn, and Facebook. You can follow us and find out about all information, course offers, details, and some value around what coaching is, what coaching is, and how you can develop your skills as a leader. That's me for today. I hope you've got some real value for that. Don't forget, if you're still here, to leave a comment, question, or reshare with anyone that you might think might find this valuable. And I will see you in the next live. Thank you very much.